When the season began, Florida and UCF had very different expectations of what this game could mean. This was two teams that expected to be much better than they were, but also you knew there were going to be some obstacles along the way. Florida has not gotten off to a good start. UCF is coming off a pretty bad loss. Losing to Colorado is not necessarily terrible, but it's not a good way to go out, especially with how much UCF struggled at times to stop Colorado's offense. They are looking to bounce back and potentially send Florida's head coach packing. Billy Napier has obviously been on the hot seat entering the season. It's been a difficult schedule for the Gators, and it's not going to get easier. And now you throw in a UCF team that very much wants to make a statement and show that they can beat an SEC team. That's not a good combination, but we will see what happens. UCF is very motivated to get back into the win column. A very difficult loss again against Colorado. It wasn't like it was a bad team you were facing. It's just that you didn't play your best. You just didn't see that same excitement from this team, and you were looking to get back to that point. When you look at what both teams need to do, I think for UCF, it's going to be what does the defense need to do to bounce back? Because you're not going to face the same caliber of offense with Florida, but you need to have a strong performance. You did not look good against Colorado. And I think the offense obviously wants to get its rushing attack back up and running. And Kobe Hudson, I think, for the most part, didn't exactly thrive against Travis Hunter or against Colorado. So you want to see that offense get back going. But it's the defense that needs to step up. It's not been a very good defense for UCF so far this year, and that needs to change. You have the players available to make those plays, but you have to find ways to be more consistent. For Florida, the biggest question is what do you got? I don't really know what else to say. I think that you have to figure certain things out. Maybe a better question is just going to be, can the offense show some life like we saw against Mississippi State? I think you saw some exciting plays. Graham Mertz was making some nice throws. And maybe is it just time to go with DJ? I mean, Graham Mertz is good. I think that you can still find ways to win football games, and that's probably where I think that maybe this is what it's going to be. Billy Napier is probably just going to go with Graham Mertz until he gets fired, and then whoever the interim is probably playing DJ the rest of the way. You have to find ways to keep DJ Lagway invested and find ways to keep him on campus. And sitting him on the bench isn't going to do that, unfortunately. So you have to find ways to balance that out and also get the offense going. You're not going to win football games if the offense can't put up points, and that's going to be a very difficult task if you're going to struggle in that category. So we will see. I'm curious to see what the quarterback situation is going to be. And I think that there's a lot of matchups that I'm interested to watch, but I think that we've seen Florida's defensive line struggle at times. I'm very curious to see what the offensive line for UCF can do against that Florida defensive line. You could also look at Kobe Hudson against Jason Marshall. That could be an underrated matchup. But again, with what Florida is looking to slow down, it's going to be that rushing attack. So maybe Kobe Hudson is going to get a bounce back game. We will see. It's going to be a fun game to watch, I think, for various different reasons. Maybe not the most exciting game, but there's still plenty of things to pay attention to in this one. The impact players for UCF, everything starts with KJ Jefferson. I think that he can have a better game than he did last week. RJ Harvey obviously joins him in the backfield. You want to see that passing attack maybe get a little bit better. If Harvey is your leading receiver for most of that game, you're probably not going to have a too successful of a game, a performance, but still you have that option. Penny Boone maybe gets more involved. I think that we saw him last game. Kobe Hudson, obviously, we talked about him. Maybe tight end Randy Pittman can be someone that you rely on a little bit more, but we will see what this team looks like. On the defensive side of the ball for UCF, Deshaun Pace has been phenomenal for UCF. One of the best decisions they made was to keep him at his linebacker spot or bring him back to the linebacker spot. He has been very good for this team. The secondary obviously needs to figure some things out. And I think you have some talented players. We will see what Trey Wilson's status is for this game, but I think that you have plenty of threats, if you will, for UCF's defense to defend. And it's going to be tough if you're not up to speed. And again, you need to get this defense back on track. And letting Florida's wide receivers run all over you is not going to be an easy way to make that happen. Now, the impact players for Florida, it could be Graham Mertz, it could be DJ Lagway. I expect that we're going to see both of those players. They bring different skill sets to the table. And again, I think you're trying to win football games, so you stick with Graham Mertz, but DJ Lagway's time should be coming pretty soon. Montreal Johnson, has been the obviously the running back, the main running back for this offense. So we'll see if anybody else can step up as the season progresses. Elijah Badger has been a really good addition for Florida. I think that's an underrated addition. They're probably not going to talk about him a ton because of Florida's struggles. If Trey Wilson, like I said, is good to go, you feel like he is a potential threat. Chamari DK is also somebody to keep an eye on for that offense as well. The defense for Florida has their hands full. Shamar James is someone who's going to be an impact player. I think that Traquez Bridges against or even Traquez Bridges, I guess if you're playing him wherever he is at, but anybody that's guarding Kobe Hudson is going to have their hands full. If that's Marshall, whoever that's going to be, is going to have their hands full. But this is a game where I think that both teams are looking to get in the win column, and it's going to have a big effect on their teams if they lose. If UCF loses another game, then you're going to start going back to the drawing board. Gus Malzahn's going to have to figure some things out. If you're Florida and you lose to UCF, I think that, we're starting to talk about Billy Napier's job and the uncertainty that is his future with this program. But we're not going to get to that yet because we have to see how the game plays out first. And it's going to be fun to see where these two teams end up. It's going to be an exciting game. Maybe not as exciting as it might have been at the beginning of the year, but still, it's UCF against Florida, and those two teams are ready to make sure the other one doesn't come out with bragging rights.